we found that integrating different data sets and different insights, market insights, shopper insights, competitor insights into trade marketing and establishing a trade marketing strategy has greatly improved effectiveness, all over, but sometimes it's difficult to gather and analyze those insights efficiently because of the structure, the granularity, how hard probably take us to go and gather that information, or sometimes it's expensive to go and gather that kind of information. Now, in your experience, Claire, how do you incorporate shopper insights and competitor insights, or just marketing insights into your trade marketing strategies?
It's interesting what you said about collating all that data. I'm working on a price and promotional strategy at the moment. So at the moment, it comes down to me and my team using the sales data to understand what's happening in the market, not just for us, but what our competitors are doing, what's driving the growth, but not just using data, actually using insights from understanding trends within the country, trends within gender, trends within demographics, financial trends, just understanding what behaviors are driving people's decision. And that comes from just having category knowledge, but research, which we don't have that provided to us. We seek that out. And understanding at the moment there's a cost of living crisis, what impact has that had on people's purchasing behaviors? What does that impact in terms of promotional trends, but also what we're seeing using this data, people switching to value packs, they're switching to bigger bulk items versus almost like a promotional strategy. So we just use a lot of that data to understand consumer behavior and what the strategy should be going forward for the business.
There's another very interesting factor here, and it's like you're preparing like the whole strategy based on those insights, and based on those insights you establish a plan to have either an end cap or increase the position on the shelf, or give a promotion that could incent a higher demand or a higher volume, and then hopefully the retailer is gonna go ahead, implement it, and that's gonna be a positive ROI and a positive result. But what we have seen, Claire, is that there's two factors here. The first one is price elasticity, because price elasticity obviously 100% related to price, but also how the shopper is going to react to an end cap, or is going to react based on your experience, how they're going to react with some other additional exhibitions, but also cross elasticity or cannibalization, or how, let's say, we're going to promote product A with a discount, or we're going to give an additional space to product A. What's the impact that it could generate in the rest of your products that eventually will cannibalize sales from it? How do you handle that? How do you get visibility of those cross product or cross category effects and cannibalization when running multiple campaigns, not even say with 10 different retailers, but with one retailer?
Yeah, it's a challenge. I do have access to data from some customers which can show me switching, and it can show me a period of time. So I can actually see if for the last quarter or last 12 weeks, for example, if we run a promotion, have we had customers switch from another brand to us, and you see the sales difference. And we can even go down to SKU level. So we could see if someone switched from our 500ml to another 500ml during a promotion. So, I mean, data's just the key. Okay, having that visibility is everything. Outside of that, I do the analysis with the data I can, in terms of being able to see price per unit, volume increases, volume decreases, to see what the incremental amount has been, and has that been enough to support the promotion from a trade spend or element. So it's literally using that data, but that is a lot of work when you're doing it manually that way. Versus one of our fantastic databases for a customer, which is a click of the button. And I think that's where you're going with this, right? From an AI perspective, to be able to have that. And I'm happy to recommend some of these platforms that we use to, if you're able to get the access to find them. The best one I use is called Quantium, and it's our biggest supermarket here's system. And the market here is Woolworths, grocery, huge grocery channel. And we purchase that data, and it's absolutely the best data channel I use out of all of my customers. Not saying there's not more available, but in terms of budgets, we can only spend so much. But it doesn't just provide checkout as well. It provides shopper behaviors analysis, key drivers, key decision trees. If you're bringing in new customers, if you're bringing in switching, if it's NPD that's bringing in new customers. So this is where I see AI going. Like, this is such a great platform to have the analysis done for you versus my scan data, which can be a little bit more tricky, and knowing there's so many variables in that data set, it's very difficult. But I very much recommend that kind of platform that Quantium have gone to, in terms they're more advanced than I've seen.
Yeah, and I think the big challenges here are, how can I improve as a CPG manufacturer my accuracy in my forecasting and my predictions, because that's always a challenge. Second is, how can I decrease the time that it's taking me right now doing this analysis in Excel sheets or just in regular platforms. So one is accuracy, the other one is time, and the most important is business results, like how a solution like this is going to help me increase my margins or my revenue. How can I measure those very accurately? I think that you're done already with your 2025 planning, and I'm sure that it started probably a couple of months ago. And then, so you have like a long-term, meaning 1 full year vision or strategy. But then as the year starts, there are some, even though you have like the year vision, as the year starts, you need to start like tweaking and making some changes, having some short-term gains. How do you balance that need for those short-term gains or actions against your competitors versus the long-term strategy and the sustainable growth?
Yeah, well, it is FMCG, so obviously it's got to be very flexy. And that, it's not, everything's not in concrete, but a lot of that will be managed from a sales perspective team, from their customer strategy, from the promotional execution. So they'll negotiate directly with the customers on their expectations to take part in sort of category events or deeper promotions, or to even go at an everyday low price or whatever. It's got to align with that customer strategy. So the sales team will be flexible and use their trade spend into their personal KPIs to build their own sales growth. I can advise on that. So I can advise on how deep they should go or not go, and what's the frequency, what could work for them better and the customer. But ultimately, it will come out of their trade spend. It will come out of their negotiations with the customer from that perspective. But I would also, out of my budget, I would also support promotions it might be an activation, but it might be not a big activation that we might have planned for the year. It might be responding to an in-store activation, such as creating shelf-ready tickets, swabblers, aisle invaders, creating the catalogue page, calling out that promotion. So we are flexible with that. But yeah, I would work with them directly into what they're trying to achieve, how we can help support it from a shopper and trade marketing, however you refer to it. So I do that quite a bit, and I'll also do recommendations for customers that don't have we don't have data for. So we might have smaller pharmacies channels, for example. So I would support throughout the year and say, well, you know, we bought this new product in, I recommend you do this promotion, and I'll support it with a wobbler or shelf stripping or things like that to help support them with their customers to activate and respond to quick promotions if they need to. And it happens, obviously. We've seen competitors go very deep, very hard, very surprisingly. So you see the share change completely, throws us out. And then you think, well, okay, what's the right strategy for us, but how do we respond to that as well?
Interesting. Now, we're getting at the end of the conversation, Claire, and I have one last question. And I think that we are seeing that every CPG manufacturer has an agenda for digital transformation, you know. And how they can incorporate automations, advanced analytics, AI into almost every area, every department. What role does this in this digitalization of your company? What role is technology playing in your department, in trade marketing, in marketing, in point of sale? So how are you guys thinking about incorporating AI and digitalize some of your decisions in your specific responsibility?
I think we're actually a bit behind the market in AI at the moment. I think we've still got a long way to go to incorporate it into a lot of businesses. It's still very young here. I think there is opportunity for what you said, is to collaborate all of this information into a much better way, particularly digitally. Our technology, I wouldn't say it's particularly high level advanced, but I have seen other competitors use it more, particularly around skin. So I see it going forward where it really relates to the customer. So they're able to have their skin checked online. They're able to have recommendations straight away on what will work for them. So it's being able to sort of talk to the customer outside of store, particularly as well, using your digital platforms, as well as social platforms. Like, how do you convert the customer online as well by giving them the same shopping, the experience and the education? So from us, it's really an education piece because it is skincare. So that's the opportunity with the technology, I really believe, in terms of, if you look at La Roche-Posay, they've done it for a long time where you can almost scan your skin, and you'll see a lot more of these beauty brands elevating that way, where you can virtually see your lipstick on, or, you know, how can you interact more and recommend and then convert into a purchase. So in terms of shopper and what happens in store, there isn't much I can see we're advancing at the moment in terms of that interaction. I think there's opportunity again of how do you bring that in-store theatrics and really engage the consumer through a personal experience. So the only thing I have seen, like I said, about the beauty bit in store, where you can, you know, see whatever your hair color might look like, where but that's quite advanced for Australia. It's not as big here. And I've been to the UK recently, and I think they're getting more advanced, and particularly focusing more on AI. But I think Australia's a little bit slow, only because of a population percentage too. So we're a big country of only 26 million people. So I think our technology is still quite slow in getting there, and we sort of take a lot of the global trends, and we see what happens globally, and then you'll see it happen in Australia.
For some challenges, yes, technology has been applied, but still you see that there's a great opportunity for some other specific areas to incorporate technology, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I want to thank you for your time, and I'm sure that people is going to be very interested in this conversation, Claire.